Hey everybody, this is Margo with Keep Turning Pages. I got on here to go over my September reads with you. In September, I read 7 books. There were 4 physical books and 3 Kindle books, Kindle Unlimited books, and I'm just going to go over them and tell you a little bit about what I thought of each one. So the first one that I finished is The Printer and the Preacher. I finished this one in September, but my nonfiction books usually take me a couple months to read because I read them in between the fiction books. So I count it in the month that I finish it. So The Printer and the Preacher is about Benjamin Franklin and George Whitefield and how their lives intermingled, how they met each other, and just different aspects of George Whitefield's ministry and Benjamin Franklin's life. It was very, very interesting. I did only give it a 3.5 stars just because I don't know if I just wasn't in the mood for it. It felt a little slow to me, but it is a nonfiction book, and those can be slower. But it was very, very informative. If you have a child or somebody doing a research paper on either one of these gentlemen, I would highly recommend this book. It gave a lot of information. There were many times I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's interesting, that kind of stuff. But it was just kind of slow for me, not my normal read. So for me, it's a 3.5 stars. But it is a very, very good book. My pastor also read it. He really, really enjoyed it. So I think it just kind of depends on, who the reader is. So 3.5 stars for me on The Printer and the Preacher. Then the next book that I read was Becky Wade's My Stubborn Heart. I also gave this one 3.5 stars. I know some of you are going to come for me about that, but this was my first Becky Wade book. I will definitely check out other ones of hers, but to me, I love the storyline. The storyline was great. Loved the characters, loved the character development. The issue was she spent a lot of time getting us into the story, meeting the characters, and in the end, it just felt really, really rushed to me. And I didn't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy the way that the end was just kind of like zoom, 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 done. So I wish that it had been, I guess, more balanced. And so that is why I gave My Stubborn Heart 3.5 stars. The next one that I read was I Want to Trust You, But I Don't by Lysa TerKeurst. I love, love, love her books. I think this is my 3rd book of hers. They've all been 5 stars for me, and this is no exception. This is a 5-star book. It, depending on what you're going through in life right now, it can be heavy, it can be hard, but so, so very helpful. And she just has a way of letting you know, just from the things that she's walked through in her life, that you're not alone, that your feelings are valid, and the way to deal with those feelings with grace when you're dealing with the other people involved in your heartbreak or your distrust. It was a little hard for me to read just with what's going on in my personal life right now. So, but definitely 5 stars. Highly, highly, highly recommend Lysa TerKeurst, any of her books. The next 3 books that I read were on Kindle Unlimited. They are free on Kindle Unlimited, and I highly recommend them. So the first one was Wraithwood by Alyssa Roat. This was my very first book that I read by her, and I saw it on her page on TikTok, which I will tag her down below. But it was really, really good. It is a fantasy book. I cannot wait for my daughter to read it. It does deal with a lot of magic and stuff like that, but we love fantasy. We do, we are deep in our Bibles. We know how to discern different things. If you're not comfortable with magic in what you read or what your children read, definitely do not read this book. So just trigger warning, it deals with a lot of magic and wizards and stuff like that. And there is some battle scenes and stuff, but they're not like gruesome or anything like that. But it was so, so good. I could not wait to read the second one. I gave it 4.5 stars. The only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is because it does have a lot of magic in it, and some of the magic is called dark magic, and so they didn't get into the dark magic in this book. So I was just weary. So I gave it 4.5 stars because it can deal with dark magic and stuff like that. The next one I read was also in this series. It was Mortizan. It's the second book in the series. And so it was also very good. I gave this one 4 stars instead of 4.5 because it did get into the dark magic a little bit more. And there's just one section where she meets a certain person in the story, and that person really, really wants the main character to embrace dark magic. So because of that one scene, I did go down to a 4 star instead of a 4.5 star. And then the last one in this series is Castellan. I'm not quite sure if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. Back up to 4.5 stars. It is the final in the trilogy. The only reason that I didn't give it 5 stars is because the ending literally had me messaging Alyssa and saying, we need more. It is a good ending. I mean, it does complete this trilogy, but it leaves you wanting more to the story. And I'm not going to say any more of that because I want you to read it, but definitely read it. Let her know we need more. This series was so good. Overall, I would give the series as a whole a 5 stars. Definitely going to let my daughter read it. I think she'll really, really enjoy it. So check this out. All 3 of these are free on Kindle Unlimited. So then my last September read was Dare to Hold by Amber Nicole. This is her debut book, and let me tell you, she's going somewhere. This is a definite 5-star read. I've already given it to my daughter and said, I want you to read this. Now, she is 13 years old. My daughter is 13 years old. She's a mature reader. Some of you might not be comfortable letting your 13-year-olds read this because it does deal with an adult relationship. Two people meet. It's kind of funny how they meet. So they meet because the main character, Ivy, is dared to do something to the main male character, Gray, or with the main male character, Gray. It is clean. It's not a dirty dare or anything like that. But her and her 3 best friends, they rotate daring each other on different things. And so it was Ivy's turn to get a dare, and she is dared to kind of introduce herself to Gray in a fun way. So that's how they meet. And then the story goes on to get to know their relationship, how they grow through their relationship. Gray is a Christian, Ivy is not in the book. And so I really, really love the realistic way that she navigates their storyline. The faith element is throughout the whole thing. And I'm really trying not to give anything away because I don't want to spoil any books. But the faith element is throughout the whole thing. And just the way that they deal with true issues that young people deal with, or any Christians deal with in trying to date with a purpose and date right. I really just loved the way that Amber put that throughout the entire book. Definitely a 5-star read. Like I said, I am passing it on to my daughter. There's no spice. There's nothing in it that concerns me, and I think it will give her a good example for how to date in her future. So definitely recommend this. Amber, congratulations on your first book. Knocked it out of the park. Can't wait to read your next one. And that is my wrap up. I read 7 in September. Really enjoyed my reading month. And I ended with Dare to Hold, which ended on a high note. We'll see how October holds up against it. Thank you for watching.